within, they hold me tight. In the dark, I lose my fight.
Chapter 5. New Beginnings. Carla began to get bored with many of the men she was friends with. They'd stop texting as much over time, and then she would start texting them more, until they ghosted her just like Charlie did. Once the men got caught by David, or by their own spouse, they would back off Carla. They had already used her, thrown her away like a rag. Carla didn't seem to understand. She blamed David, of course. She was just reflecting back onto these guys what he had done to her. But with every broken friendship, she got a little closer to David. She started trying a bit more with him. She was beginning to feel like she was married again. Even started seeing a future with David. Still, David infuriated her. He would question her about who she was texting or ask for the name of a friend. She'd really bite his head off for that. David would try to be kind, but he'd always imply what she was doing was cheating. She didn't see it that way. To her, emotional intimacy didn't count. Loyalty was physical. And technically, she hadn't crossed that line, at least not often. She wasn't having sex with most of these men, and those times didn't count. If she did have relations with them, she wasn't really with David at the time. Sure, they were married, but she couldn't talk to him because he'd get upset. She had to hide her phone because if he saw what she was saying to the other men, it would only cause more problems. He's so weak and jealous, she thought. If he wasn't, I'd be happily married to him. It's his fault I'm like this. Post office training, Normandy, Oklahoma. Later, Carla got another job offer at the post office. She'd have to do training again, 2 separate trips. Things had been going so much better with David when she was heading up for her first training session. They even had a 3-hour phone conversation just to help keep her awake on the drive. Then she met another guy. While she was there, she started treating this new guy like a husband, but without any of the hatefulness. By day 3, she finally told David about him. David seemed pretty all right about it. That made Carla mad. He's not jealous, she thought. Fine, I'll keep telling him more. But David wasn't really bothered. He didn't even ask as many questions as usual, until day 5. That's when he finally asked about the guy. Does anyone know who this guy is or what he looks like? No. What guy? The guy you're eating with? No, nobody knows, except what I told you, LOL. David acted like he was worried. He even thought someone might have stolen Carla's phone and was messing with him. Typical David, she thought. I'm an adult. I can do whatever I want. I don't need his care. He had messed up her date with Devon. She was going to have to make it up to him. It's been a while since I had sex too, she thought. It's going to be a good night. But later that night, Carla was only left with disappointment. Devon was so mediocre she almost called David. But then she remembered. David had been such an asshole, blaming her for how things were between them. When he knows it's his fault for being there for me all the time? It even made her mad thinking about him doing all the housework and still expecting her to pick up her own things. He should do that too, if he loved me. I don't want to have to do it myself. It's his job. He's lucky to be with me. She also hated how much he complained about her cat pissing on everything. I don't care that I promised him I wouldn't bring home another cat without his agreement. It's my house, too. Then he had the nerve to complain about the cat knocking things off the counter and waking everyone up. Tells me to keep her in my room. What an idiot. Then she'd just keep me up. Just as Carla was getting lost in thoughts about how bad David was, she got a message from Charlie. Her breath caught. That tiny red heart emoji hit harder than any apology. It rewrote the past in an instant. I'm so sorry, Carla. I lost my Snapchat account so I couldn't get a hold of you. My ex-wife took my phone away from me. I have thought about you every day. Maybe David hadn't messed things up between them after all. She should have known better. Charlie would never have just ghosted her. She felt so stupid now. She could have left David already and been fully with Charlie, though something nagged at her. She couldn't quite put a finger on it. Still, the excitement won her over. She threw herself into snapping like she never had before. She even got Charlie to commit to spending a week or two at her hotel during the next training session. Life was wonderful. Maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something better between them.
If only David would be excited about me being with my friends, he'd be a good husband then.
Thoughts from a broken man, David was finally starting to relax about Carla's trip. It had been 5 days. She was going out with some guy, just to eat, and surprisingly, she hadn't tried to hide it. That alone felt like progress. Maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something better between them. There'd been no silent treatment so far, no yelling, no accusations, just some distance, which David had grown used to. She hadn't told him the guy's name, though. That nagged at him. Normally, she'd snap if he even asked. But maybe this time she'd be respectful. That would be fine. He wasn't trying to control her. He just didn't want to feel like an outsider in his own marriage. Maybe she's trying, he thought. Maybe this is different. But the worry crept in. He hadn't slept much. Night shifts had been taking their toll. He'd worked late the night before, maybe 3 hours of rest at most. Energy drinks couldn't make up for how cloudy his mind felt these days. The questions began looping in his head. Why won't she say his name? Why does she only say, a friend? Why is it always vague with her? Still, he had been trying hard not to push. But by the evening of day 5, he gave in. He texted her. Hey, just wondering, does anyone know this guy you're going out with? Does anyone know what he looks like or his name? It felt weird. He instantly regretted it. He didn't want to sound like he didn't trust her, but truthfully, he didn't know if he did anymore, and that made his chest ache. She responded, No? What guy? The guy you're eating with? No, nobody knows except what I told you, LOL. The LOL stung. It was always like that. Light-hearted dismissiveness, like his concern was funny, like he was being ridiculous. It made him feel small, paranoid, and maybe he was. Why would she ask, what guy, like she didn't know who he was talking about? He stared at her reply, then, almost without thinking, he typed out another message. Do I need to call the police to make sure you're okay? Sent. His heart sank. What the hell was I thinking? He muttered, rubbing his eyes. You idiot! Why would you send that? If someone did have her phone, they would never say, yes. He sat in silence, realizing how stupid and weak it sounded. He wasn't her father. She didn't need saving. Still, the thought of someone else having her phone, someone else making him out to be the crazy husband while she flirted freely in the background, it made his skin crawl. He didn't even know if he was angry at her or angry at himself for still caring so much. Though his mind wasn't clear at what was happening at this point, he called her immediately. The first thing she did was explode. She went ballistic, accused him of not trusting her, of being controlling, of ruining her evening. She told him she didn't need anyone checking up on her, that she was a grown woman, and that he had no right to ask who she was with. Then she hung up. And that was it. The silence returned like a curtain dropping over a stage. He tried calling back. Nothing. His too many texts went unanswered. She never cared about how he felt. Not anymore. Maybe not ever. He sat in their quiet house, the TV playing in the background, unheard. Dishes from her last meal still in the sink that he had found in her room. Her cat knocking something off the counter again in the other room. All of it piling on top of the mental noise that never let up. David clenched his jaw. He felt rage, not at her, but at how powerless he felt, at how his love had turned into a prison, a leash he had placed on himself. His own dignity hung somewhere in the past. And yet, underneath the bitterness and betrayal, there was still love. That horrible, stupid love that made him ache to be near her, made him pray she'd come back as the version of her he remembered from the early years, before the bitterness, before the coldness. He couldn't win. Either he stayed and kept drowning, or he left and lived with the guilt of walking away from someone he still couldn't stop loving. He saw the truth now about what she had been doing over the years, every secret text, all the bitterness, every half-truth. But he also saw the goodness in her. He knew it was still buried somewhere under the pain and control and the attention-seeking, and he didn't want to destroy that. He couldn't. His mind spun in quiet purgatory, back and forth, day after day. He wasn't alive anymore, not really, just suspended, paralyzed between moments of hate and remnants of love.
You say you need your freedom, say I'm holding you too tight, but every word you hide behind keeps me up again at night. You blame the mess on memory, say I should forget the past, but I still see your silhouette in every lie you cast. And I'm still hanging on to someone who let go, still trying to make sense of things I'll never know. You burned our house with silence, then called me cold and gone. But I'm the fool with open